Hey everyone, this is Fergal Panda here. I wanted to do a video. I got an email or a message from someone that was curious about, I touched on it a little bit, if Denver is safe, meaning like crime and stuff like that, vandalism, things like that. Denver is a very safe city. It's a city, people come from all over the country, come here. It's because we have the mountains all around us. We're the Mile High City. It's beautiful. There's so much outdoor stuff to do, you know, if you're active, tons of stuff to do outside, whether in the summer, spring, or winter, if you like, especially if you like winter sports during the winter, you'll love it here. Summer times are gorgeous too. Mountain towns are really gorgeous. So anyway, getting to the point, is Denver safe? Yes, of course it is. Does it have areas that are more sketchy, as people would say, sketch? Yes, there are areas like that. Do we have real historical poverty? Not necessarily. You're not going to find the historical poverty, say, you may find in like Chicago, Philly, Milwaukee, you know, some small towns in the South, large cities in the South, historical poverty such as that. You're not really going to find that here. It's not the type of place where you can come to Denver and all of a sudden you fall on your face, you lose your job and stuff like that, and you're stuck and you can't get out of it. As long as you have some common sense, you have a good work ethic, you can get jobs out here and you can work in whatever circumstance that you were in, you can get out of it. Right now, you know, with how the job market is in Denver right now, unless you have like disabilities, you know, health reasons, you know, stuff like that, if you want to work, you can work. People that are not working here, there's a reason they're not working. They don't want to work, a lot of them, to be honest with you. Some people may be waiting on their field to open up, or they're waiting, you know, for certain specific jobs in their area expertise. Yes, that's one thing here. Now, if you just need a job, say you lost your job and you needed a job, okay, we have FedEx here, we have UPS, we have small manufacturing businesses here. Heck, you get paid. What was I just seeing? Trying to think. I want to say Sonic. Sonic was advertising. I was at work at the hospital and I had the TV on for some of my patients, and I want to say it was Sonic. It was one of the fast food places. $15 an hour starting, in need of people. You know, and that's not ideal for a lot of people to do fast food and stuff. And I totally get it. But if, you know, you need money, there's a job. You know, you can come out here until you figure out what you're doing, go work at one fast food place for $15 an hour and go get another hustle at another one, or go do Uber Eats and work part-time at FedEx, which pays $20+ an hour. The cost of living is very high here. I've touched on that in other videos. That's the truth. But I said for some people, if you're willing to commute, then you live in one of the smaller communities on outside that are a lot cheaper. Not to say super cheap, but cheaper. You know, you move to Lock Bowie. Parker is going up. There's fairly expensive now, but like Elizabeth, there's surrounding little towns. So which I would recommend you do, you know, especially if you also want a little bit more small town life, things like that. Pull up a map of Denver. Go on Google Maps, pull up a map of Denver, and then zoom in on certain areas, the surrounding areas around Denver. Not necessarily Denver. And when I say Denver, I'm talking about Denver, Aurora, that's where I live, Westminster, Thornton, Arvada. I'm missing a few. Commerce City, Reunion. Reunion's actually is Commerce City, and they take a whole video to explain what Commerce City is, what's the difference between Commerce City and Reunion. Basically, it was an area that wasn't as sought after in the past because the trash dump was out there, right? So a lot of people kind of clowned on it, but I've been out there, and since they call it Reunion, the area that's right next to Commerce City, tons of beautiful houses up. It's really gorgeous out there what they've done with it, but the houses there, you can get a brand new house for that's fairly affordable. And I say that because I work with people at some of my other jobs. I usually have, like I've told you before, 2 or 3 jobs. And one, I work in healthcare. That's usually my main one. That's the bread and butter. But usually I have another job, you know, like case management, education. And I know some of the people I work with that don't make a lot of money. They don't make that much money. Like, here's an example. A girl I worked with, admin assistant for a school I worked at, she probably made $16, $17 an hour and worked like 30 hours a week. her husband worked at the airport here, and he was a contract worker, so he made about $17.50 an hour. I looked it up. I was just curious about it because she gets free tickets and stuff. I was curious, maybe that should be my next part-time job. Anyway, and he works overtime, but they probably cracked maybe $80,000 a year, 85. That'd be my guesstimate max. They got a brand new house in Reunion area. They couldn't afford to live in certain other areas, but they got a brand new house. She was pregnant at the time. They were looking to start a family. They got a brand new house, nice neighborhood. All the houses are new. It's a lot of people, young people, older people, a variety of people that want to own a house, but may not be able to afford a house like $500,000 or so, $400,000 or $500,000 in other areas. They can get a house there for, you know, $300,000 or so dollars. Another area is Aurora. Certain areas of Aurora, I'm gonna tell you a zip code, 80015. Look up 80015. I live on the 80016 area, 80015, and some of those others, 80014, I believe, too, are not Cherry Creek School District. That's the sought after school district people want to live in because the schools are pretty strong. So this other areas, the zip codes I brought up are Aurora public schools, which are not as strong. They're not as good as schools. They're not that good, but honestly, if you're just looking to start out somewhere and owning, those zip codes would be a good area because you can buy a new house for significantly cheaper than you could buy, say, where I live, 80016, 80017, for example. But you can get a house that's also not in the city. And these are all new houses. And, you know, you can just do that. Now, with that being said, getting back to it, as far as safety goes, you can drive around and figure it out. But I tell people, make sure you take care of your bias in regards to, you know, looking at areas, you know, just because an area, you know, and sometimes people, especially if you're coming from areas where it's not very diverse, you'll see diversity, you'll see different people, and you may think, oh, this is the area that, you know, this is a poor area. It's actually not. Some of those areas are just very diverse areas, and they're blue collar areas. So these are just not all blue collar, like working class people, be some teachers mixed in, young professionals, older professionals that are frugal, that are all trying to, you know, see what's going on, see how it's going, you know, seeing what the market looks like and getting started in life, or, you know, they've worked their life and they finally able to afford a house. And some of those areas that people may have defined earlier in the past as being areas that are not as prime, they're moving in there because that market's hot. Another area is Stapleton. Stapleton area is near downtown. It used to be an area, you know, some people didn't really like. Dude, you can't get a house in Stapleton probably under $700,000-800,000 type of area, just where it's at, all the new stuff, all the building, and its location. And here it's about location. So as far as safety goes, we have the regular stuff, homelessness. We do have crime, we have gang activity, depending on where you live. That's depending on where you live. You know, you have drug addictions, you know, meth, opioids, crack, you know, stuff depending on where you're at. You go further out in rural areas, more rural areas, you're gonna have a lot more issues in regards to meth and opioid addiction and stuff related to that, and petty crimes and petty crimes and theft and all that stuff. Because a lot of those areas, there's not a lot of jobs. So you're gonna drive in, but the difference, the one thing about there is if you can afford it, you can buy land, or you can buy a house with land away from people, where your nearest neighbor's a mile or two down the road, you know, type of stuff. But, you know, that's Denver. But Denver and Colorado, we're no different than the rest of the country in regards to, you know, the different types of social ills that are going on right now, in regards to drug addiction, people out of work, trying to get people back to work too, because there are opportunities through this country, and we're not going to get into that, but I'm going to tell you about what I know about Denver. There are a ton of jobs. And, you know, I look at it like this: if I lost my job and I lost my other job, what would I do? Well, I just go get another healthcare job. But what if I wasn't in healthcare and I didn't have any knowledge of healthcare? Well, take a pick. I could go do an online application and go work at FedEx 20 to 30 hours a week, and make, you know, I think they pay $20 to $25 an hour, somewhere around there. They'll pay for your school. I can go work at UPS. I can go do Uber. They offer all types of crazy promotions here. But as far as crime goes and things like that, if you did come out here and you got in an area that you were like, it was kind of sketchy to you, don't be negative about it. Just start making a plan of action of how you're going to get out of that area, and just work and do what you need to do, and you can get out of there. This is not the type of city, if you got a good work ethic, that all of a sudden you get here and something happens, you're stuck in poverty. You can't get out of it. It's an endless cycle, you know. As long as you have a good mentality and you have, you know, you're pretty goal oriented, whatever would happen here, whatever problems you may have in life, as long as you're healthy enough and willing enough, you can get out of them here. May you have to work harder depending on it depends on your skill set. It will depend on what your skill set's like. If your skill set's not as strong, then, you know, you may not be able to get a top paying job, a good paying job, but that doesn't mean you can't get 2 jobs till you figure it out, or maybe that's what you want to do. So, like I said, the main thing to do, and another thing you can do is go on Zillow. Look it up, Zillow or Trulia. I can't remember which one. And you can look at a house, you can look up a zip code and look at the houses and areas, and you go down through the website, go down through that house description, you'll see a Google map. And that Google map, you can zoom in and it will show the crime areas around it. Like, it'll be like different colors. Red is like really fairly bad crime till, I don't remember the color, blue or green is like there's none, and it'll tell you what types of crime is happening in those areas. And that'll also help you look at deciding on what areas you live in. But also a good thing to do is just drive around and see about the areas and figure out the areas you're gonna feel comfortable in. You know, but as far as being unsafe, no, people flock here. They bring their families here. You know, tons of people from out of town, singles, couples, everything. Come here for the adventure, come here for the city life, come here for the mountains, come here for, you know, all the good stuff we got to offer here. So if you want to come out here, don't be fearful about crime and stuff. That just use common sense and look around the areas, and don't let your first perception of an area, you know, fully make you think there's a lot of crime there. We have tons of different people here. We have tons of different opportunities. I believe it's a good place for people to live. I believe it's a good place to get started in life. And I believe it's a place that, like I said, if you got a good work ethic, you can, if you're growing up in a small town, I always use Nebraska, somewhere in Alabama, you know, Tennessee, you know, things like smaller towns where there's nothing but the local popcorn factory or local tire, you know, factory, or just farm jobs. You can come out here and be a lot more in life than you could be there, where you're restricted by just very little opportunities. Here you can do all types of stuff and do well in life. Anyway, this is Frugal Panda, and I hope this helps somebody out there just kind of thinking about moving out here. First off, research though, look at different things, make a plan of action before you come out here, especially if you're a new professional or you're just a new worker to the, you know, you're a new person in regards to working and things like that. It's got the strong work ethic, you'll be okay. So anyway, if you come out here, I hope you enjoy Denver. I hope you enjoy Colorado. This is Frugal Panda. I want to thank everybody for watching.